Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show. This is the Copa America edition, and you have myself, Tosin, alongside Dean. How you doing today, Dean? As you take your
Good.
water.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm about to do my customary sip of water. This is what we call a sip in Nigeria. Make a sip small. I stop. Gotta
You
hydrate.
took as much time. You took as much time as the Colombia players did on the ground yesterday.
Listen, man, that was some kind of game. But I think we should
We'll
start.
talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We should start with the Argentina game because there's much less to say about that one, I think.
Yeah. Argentina, Canada. They beat them 2-0 again. And there's really not much to say. I mean, the only thing I can say is that we all knew they were going to lose, right? I think that was kind of the foregone conclusion, right?
That's not what I predicted. Well, my actual prediction based on the facts and the things in my brain, which is a very good brain with lots of deep ridges, was that Argentina would probably beat them. But what I wanted to happen was for Canada to actually beat them, which is why I predicted that Canada would beat them, but that obviously didn't happen. And that prediction was based on the group stage game, which Canada also lost, but they created so many chances, and Argentina looked so open against these dudes that I was like, shit could happen. I mean, like, no one expected Canada to make the semifinals in their first Copa America appearance, so I figured, I'm not a gambling man, but if I was, why not bet on Canada? Be like Drake and gamble on Canada. See how that works out for you. Get bantered and slandered by a non-English speaking country's Twitter account. Talk about not like us, not with us. That's cold, man. Everybody shitting on this Canadian nigga, man. It's crazy.
Yo, when I saw Argentina tweet that after the game, I was just like, there's a myriad of reasons why that's wrong. I'm not gonna get into exactly why it's wrong, but if you know,
because it's racist. Fuck them niggas. It's racist as fuck. Fuck them niggas. But fuck Drake too. So whatever. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that stood out for me is that Jesse Marsh definitely loves this job. And I saw something today which kind of ties into what my point is. He was saying he's going to a game on Sunday, a Canadian professional league game, and how he wants to watch these young players play in the league. And what he wants for them is to play younger players. And I'm not talking about 21, 22. I want 17, 18, 19-year-olds to play because we need to start developing our players more. Like, we've got the exposure in Copa America of how the Argentinas play, how, these other countries play. This is our level, and this is where we have to be. And he's instilling this method. And I was like, Jesse really wants this job to do well. So we'll see where Canada goes under Jesse Marsh in the next 2 years.
I mean, I have a lot of confidence in them. I mean, like, if this is their baseline, then the future is very bright for them. I think overall in the tournament and in this game, I thought Jacob Schaffelberg, again, MLS player, plays for Nashville SC. With just slightly better finishing, this game ends very differently. Canada actually started better in this game. They dominated the opening exchanges. And Argentina scored against run of play. What's his name? Rodrigo De Paul, who was just having a peak shithousery game in this particular game, just on the floor, constantly just diving. But at some point, he decided to play football, and he assisted the goal to Julian Alvarez in I think it was like 22nd minute. And Moise Bombito, who had a very good tournament up to that point, he just got caught on his blind side. Alvarez snuck in, finished it pretty easily. When that goal went in, I remembered when you asked if Alvarez or Lautaro should start, and the goal just kind of felt like confirmation of where we ended on that topic, which is essentially there's no real difference between them. You just play whichever one is looking good in training for the most part, or give one an hour, give the other one 30 minutes. Because I feel like Lautaro could have scored the exact same goal,
Yeah.
And right afterwards, once that goal went in, I think the game was basically over from that point. No matter what Canada did, they kind of lost confidence for a bit. Second half started. Messi scored the second one after an Enzo. I mean, it was sort of like
shot.
Was it like a second phase of a set piece type situation?
The ball came out. Enzo had a shot. One of the Canadian players was he kept Messi on side, and Messi needed his goal. Customary Copa America goal, got his goal, and it just is what it was.
Yeah, his first goal of the tournament. You'd be surprised. Like usually he's already racked up like 4 or 5 by the semifinals or finals. But the man is 30. What now?
6, 7.
36 with a strained groin. So we can only expect so much from the GOAT. But yeah, Argentina. they've been good because they're a good team, but I don't think they've been the best team in this tournament. Matter of fact, I don't
No.
think they've been the second best team in this tournament. Maybe not even the third best team in this tournament, if we're being honest. But, when people like Schaffelberg and Oluwaseyi can't finish.
Yeah. Argentina, like I've said during the World Cup, they have a thug pipeline. Okay. They always produce these thug ass, rugged ass players, right? Diego Simeone was Maradona's bodyguard for a little bit. Rodrigo de Paul's Messi's bodyguard now. They've always had those shin kickers. I think they all kick shins. Like Lisandro Martinez, like I know he does that. That's his thing. Lisandro Martinez can pass that little ball, but he will boot you in the air. That's his thing. The whole entire backline, Montiel does it, Christian Romero does it, buff the left backs, Tagliafico, whoever else they want to play, they kick the shit out of you. But Rodrigo de Paul, he's a master of shithouse. Like that is his thing. I've never seen somebody who is so. He's a big dude too. It ain't like he's small. He's like 6 foot something, right? And he just falls to the ground.
He not 6 foot. He not 6 foot. Like,
no, he's not.
I mean, he just looks brolic, but he not 6 foot. Like, there's no way a 6 foot man with any
he's
sort
5'11".
of pride. Yeah, there you go. With any sort of pride would play the way that bitch plays. He's such a bitch. I cannot stand that nigga, man. Like, all these goddamn tattoos, but he be on the floor constantly. Like, I could not blame when Ismail Kone kicked that ball at him at one point. I was like, bro, I feel you, man. I feel you. I would do the same. I would lose discipline too, because that boy was annoying the shit out of me. Can't even imagine how annoyed the Canadians were. I'm sure Jesse Marsh probably wanted to fight that nigga. I promise.
Oh, he lost his shit. Jesse Marsh lost his shit multiple times on the sideline. Jesse Marsh was not having it. He was sick. He was fed up. He was like, yo, I can't deal with this shit.
Yeah, but these are the things that Canada needs to learn to deal with to, ascend to the next level. If they're going to, become, I imagine the goal of any national team is to become elite. Not everyone is going to have the chance because, history is what it is and resources are what they are. And talent distribution is what it is. But they do have one world-class player in Alphonso Davies who played pretty well in this game. And, we've mentioned Schaffelberg, Jonathan David probably could have done a lot better in the tournament. Kyle Aaron, same thing. They got some horses. But, I think Jesse Marsh is focused on the right things. I know the World Cup in 2 years on North American home ground for Canada, US, Mexico is a priority. But the bigger mission, I think, is to focus on the local talent, and see what you can develop, because there are probably players that we don't know about yet that are going to be in that Canadian World Cup squad. And if, things break the right way, they can have a great, great time at that World Cup in 2 years.
Yeah. RB Scarborough's going up, man. He's looking for all the Gingham presses from Brampton to Ajax. He's looking for all them in Ontario. That's what he's looking for.
RB Scarborough, baby.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for.
Mainline in the Red Bull.
Speaking of another Red Bull manager, the master of pressing himself, Uruguay's own, Argentina. He's Argentine, but he's Uruguay's manager. Marcelo Bielsa. They took on Colombia and they lost 1-0. I don't even know where to start with this game. I don't know if we start at the end when we saw what happened at the end. I don't know if we start from the beginning. But I was watching this game at dinner last night, and I was like, this is exactly what I expected from Copa America. This is the exact Copa America game I expected. Very little football, but a whole lot of shithousery. And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Listen, man, I have not enjoyed a football game that didn't involve Arsenal more than I enjoyed this game since the last World Cup final. That was a 3-3 game between Argentina and France, where Mbappe, was it a hat-trick from Mbappe in that game?
Yeah.
I haven't enjoyed a football game more. And like you said, there was very little football in it, but it was just so intense. Like, it was like the culmination of everything wrong with this tournament. And by wrong, I feel like the referees have been way too permissive. They've allowed too much to go. And the crazy thing is that in this match, I think the ref booked someone by the 25th minute because he just wanted to put a lid on it. And it did not work. It just escalated things. Like, the fields are too small because they're on actual American football fields instead of actual soccer fields. Sorry for the terminology, people. I had to be clear on it. And between the small fields, the intensity of these players and the coaches and the fan bases in the stands, the sellouts in some of the stadiums, not all of them, but in some of the stadiums, Colombia has had some good backing in this tournament. They've had a lot of, it was real yellow in those stands yesterday. Yeah, it was just very intense. And honestly, I think those of us that consider ourselves cultured fans of the game, we don't particularly go for the passion merchants. It's like if you're going to be a passion merchant, you got to be able to play with that. You can't just be, a shin kicker that yells at people and gets red cards and think you're going to be a streets remember you type player. Like, nah, you got to bring a little bit more than that. And while a lot of the guys, the 22 players on this field brought a lot to the game, this game was mainly about intensity and passion. Like, I thought Bielsa was going to have a heart attack.
Yo,
he was so stressed on the sideline, bro.
He got off his cooler in like the first 2 minutes. Bielsa's like, I can't deal with this shit. It's like, I'm way too old for this. I can't do this no more, man. I'm physically just fed up with all of this. It was just one of those games where I was watching Okate, right? And I'm like, yo, this is the perfect game for Okate. Just an absolute destroy in the middle of that field. It's like everybody was going head to head. Bentancur, he got hurt by his own teammate, bro.
Insane. Like, think about the level of intensity in a football game for someone to lose focus so badly that they tackle their own player, their own teammate, and he has to go off the field. Like, it was a very intense game. Daniel Munoz, the Crystal Palace left back, one of the better players, probably the best left back in this competition. Actually, that's Alphonso Davies, but he's been pretty good as well. And he got a early stupid yellow card for tripping somebody. Then he elbowed Ugarte. And you thought that would be the moment that would change the game in Uruguay's favor, and that's not what happened at all. Because prior to that, James Rodriguez, I think his 6 assists of the competition.
Six
that's
of them.
Insane, bro. In one competition, one guy with 6 assists. That's let me ask you this: what would you say to the statement, Colombia is the best national team in the world right now?
I agree.
Good shit.
They haven't lost in 26, 27 games. In that span, they beat Germany, Spain, Brazil, Japan. Yeah, Japan. They beat some heavyweights. In that, they've beaten Brazil twice, right? Including penalties. They just are constantly kicking ass and taking names. When they beat USA 5-0, right? I didn't want to say it publicly. When they beat them 5-0, it was the way they beat them 5-1 or whatever it was, where I was like, yeah, they're Copa America favorites. I didn't want to say it out loud, but I was like, yo, they bring something which is, they're very intense, but they can play you off the pitch if they want to. Yeah. And it also helps that they're playing so well that you forget the fact that Yeremina is bleaching, but that's neither here nor there.
I've never forgotten that shit. Not once. When he came as a sub, all I did, you can ask my brother, all I did was curse that nigga out. I was like, I hate this dude, man. I can't believe Everton paid 30 million of the Queen's good money for that dude. That's insane. Yeah. Someone paid $30 million for Yeremina. That happened in this life.
Got a light skin friend like Yeremina. Got a dark skin friend like Yeremina.
It's crazy because when they bought him at the time, I still had a little respect for him because he was black back then. Then he got to Everton and started bleaching there. Like, this nigga was so bored in Liverpool that he started bleaching. Like, so when Liverpool fans start talking about, oh, London clubs have an advantage over us in the transfer. Yeah, exactly. Niggas get so bored that they buy Tura and start bleaching like a Lagos auntie. But man, Darwin Nunez, man. I don't want to pick on him. He's still one of my favorite players. I love watching him. Fantastic footballer, but he could have iced this shit in the first half. He had a hat trick of really good chances that he should put at least one of them away. He didn't even get one on target.
No, not even close. I was like, Darwin, what are you doing? But the thing about Darwin is he doesn't stop running. He's box office. You don't know what the fuck you're going to get from him. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Like, bro, I said once upon a time that when it comes to Darwin Nunez and finishing, he just makes contact with the ball. And the rest is up to the ball. If the ball wants to go in, great. If it doesn't want to go in, great. He doesn't care after that, But I really hope for the sake of the game that he figures it out because I feel like we're kind of lacking. There's always been that profile of we had like Falcao, we had Cavani, we had Suarez, that South American striker that's killing it in Europe. No matter where he is, whether it's La Liga or in the Prem or even in a place like the Eredivisie. There's just always that guy, and I kind of feel like we're lacking that guy at the moment because Santiago Jimenez for Feyenoord is not enough just yet. So I need a little bit more. But I think the most impressive thing about Colombia yesterday, what made me go, you know what? I think this is the best national team in the world. Was just they were a man down, and at no point did Uruguay control the game.
Can I tell you something? I was watching the game yesterday, and I was with a friend. I told her, I was like, listen. It's the 76th minute. I'll never forget this. She asked me, she's like, are they going to score? I said, I promise you on everything I love. They could add 20 minutes extra time. Uruguay's not going to score. In the 76th minute. And the reason why I knew that is because the way they defended was art. That shit was brilliant. And bring on Yeremina. And again, this is why I don't like running Coleman. A coach has to be very proactive and know what's going on. He took off Richie Rios and he took off James Rodriguez because he knew he couldn't have those playmakers on the field no more. Which, by the way, Richard Rios was dancing around yesterday.
Well, he got hurt. I don't.
Hurt.
No, he got hurt. He got hurt for real. Didn't they stretcher him off? Then he came back on.
No, they didn't stretcher him out. They
Okay.
had a stretcher, but he didn't use it. He came back on eventually, and he was kind of
Then
like
went down
rubbing his knee,
again.
but it took him off. Yeah, but it took him off. But the way they had one guy just high, and they had everybody back there. I was like, Uruguay, first of all, and this is when we talked about Facundo Pellistri, right? Remember I said, like, you said you don't think he, and this tournament we realized Facundo is a talented player, but he's not enough. They didn't have anybody who's fast enough on that wing, right? On either wing that has like that blistering pace that can kind of beat down a low block, right? They couldn't do that. And the way Colombia was just set up, I was like, what can you do? Unless Valverde decides to bring his Real Madrid boots and just smack it from 40, I don't see them breaking through that defense. It was just that tight.
Yeah, the only really good chance I remember Uruguay creating in that second half, because they created some chances, but they were like half chances. The only good clear chance was the Suarez chance after he came on in like the 66th or something. Pretty shortly afterwards, he hit the post. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Then there was one other one where I forget who took the shot. Maybe it was Araujo. Took it, shot right at the goalkeeper. And the goalkeeper punched over the bar. What's his name? Doesn't matter what his name is. But yeah, Uruguay were disappointing, I gotta say, because you're a man up. You have to take advantage of that. You have to move the defense around, and the ball wasn't moving quickly enough. I don't know if you want to blame a bit of the turf for that, but both teams are playing on the same field, so you can't really give one team an excuse in that regard. And Colombia created the more dangerous chances after going a man down. They should have won this game 3-4-0.
Bro, they missed so many chances. I said it yesterday. Their finishing was peak Eddie Murphy, 80s funny. Both teams. They couldn't finish for shit. There was a chance where Colombia put the ball wide. One guy smacked it over the bar. I'm like, what are you doing?
It was the guy that came on for Rios, Mateus Uribe, I think, number 15. He came on, and I can think of three chances. There were two one-on-ones with the goalkeeper. One, he just put wide. The other one, it hit the goalkeeper's hip because he shot it directly at him, even though he had the whole post to shoot into. It hit his hip, hits the bar, goes out. Then the third one was very late in the game. The game was essentially over. Uruguay sent their keeper forward on a set piece. Colombia clears it. Sinisterra has a chance to basically score from the halfway line. One of those empty net shots. And I thought he could have done better with that, but he missed it. But Uruguay didn't create chances that good. They were a man up for approximately 55 minutes of this game, I think. And they didn't really create a whole lot in that time, And if anything, they created more after the game than during the game.
Darwin still didn't even get a shot on target.
It's crazy, man. He got shots targeted on his face.
that fight made me happy.
Well,
I know those people
fight. Because there was a fight on the field that Luis Suarez started. Then there was a fight in the stands when the Colombian fans were, insulting the Uruguayan players' families or whatever. Then players jumped in the stand, and Jimenez gave a really informative interview afterwards. And to just cut to the chase, that whole Malice in the Palace tribute is not really the fault of America or the U.S. organizers per se. CONMEBOL decided to organize this tournament themselves in this country. America just gave them the land and the stadiums and all that. They decided to organize it here, and they haven't done a very good job of it. I mean, between the way they price the tickets, between the fields being too small, between the quality of a lot of the fields, the stands being empty for most of the games, I feel like. Yeah, and now security issues, not having the wherewithal or the foresight to put, players' families away from drunk fans, which apparently was happening throughout the tournament. This was just where it came to a head. Because this game was so intense. Colombia won, and their players were crying at the end of the game. They were just so emotional about it. It was just so, man, it was art, bro. Like, that game was art. Like, I'm going to watch it again. I have no rooting interest, but I'm just going to put it on and just watch it again.
The thing is, this is why I select Copa America for me is AFCON and Spanish. It's just pure passion, right? You got some of the best players in the world who lose their goddamn mind and forget where they are. And you can even see before the games, right? When they play their national anthem, these dudes are locked the fuck in. They are, like, I was watching the Uruguayans and the Colombians. They damn near were crying at the national anthem. I was like, yeah, there.
It was too much, man. I was just like, God, like, nigga, like, why are you feeling so hard, man? Just Stop feeling. This ain't therapy. It's football. Just play ball. I beg. Like that Mateus guy, the one that missed the one-on-ones. You could tell after the game when the camera focused on him. This dude was so. I mean, and I guess rightly so, because I feel like almost anybody would feel the same way if you miss chances like that to give your team a chance. Even if you win, you're going to be so disappointed in yourself for not making it easier for your teammates. He was looking like he looked crestfallen, and his team won. And his eyes were red. He was crying. James Rodriguez was crying. Like Luis Suarez started a fight, went to go hug James, then went back to the fight. Like this shit was just insanity for all 90 minutes. Actually, just make it it was like 90 minutes plus extra time because we got the fight in the stands as well. Like, bro, man, like even talking about it, man, I'm getting tired again because that shit was intense, bro. It was intense. What a game. What a game, Mike.
It was by far one of my favorite games of the year.
I have to
in the last couple of years.
I have to pop that wall. It was too good, man. I can't wait. Yeah. We're gonna get off this shit. I'm gonna go watch that shit again. I swear.
That game was amazing. So we got the final on Sunday, Argentina versus Colombia. Let's talk about that quickly.
Yes, sir. It's hard to pick against Colombia. We just called them the best team in the world right now, despite Argentina. And I mean, we won't be surprised if Argentina pull it out because for me, regardless of what we've seen in this tournament, Lionel Messi is still the best player that will be on that field. So,
groin and all.
Who?
Groin and all.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that ain't stopping shit. He's the best player. But Colombia have been so good in this tournament, and I just think they're riding on a wave. They got that winning streak going. They got that emotional high from beating a team while being a man down for almost an hour. It's hard to pick against them, man. I think I'm going to go with Colombia. I'm going with Colombia on this one. And that's Argentina.
I think, again, when I saw Ecuador versus Argentina, that's when I knew Argentina could be got at. I think what Colombia has is they have a bunch of passion merchants who also want to die in the line, but also technical freaks as well. So it's just, I think it's going in the right direction for Colombia to win. And this is their first ever Copa America possible win since 2001. So yeah.
I think the cool thing about Copa America is that there have been so many editions of this competition that like multiple teams have double figure wins in this competition. I think Uruguay has like 15, Argentina has like 15 or some shit.
Yeah, they're both tied. Yeah.
How many does Colombia have? Do you know?
I'm going to let you know.
Get out of here. Look it up.
I'm looking up right now. They have one title, 2001.
You know what? This team is so good that I damn near forgot that Colombia are not really. I mean, they've had some great teams every now and again, but they're not one of the teams in South America. They've just, they had Valderrama for a bit and, Asprilla and, a couple names. But for the most part, I think outside of the team they sent to USA 94, this is the best Colombian team of all time, this current team, So I think it'd be nice if they could sort of put the cherry on top by winning a trophy to validate, to stamp it like this is the best Colombian team ever.
I'll give you some trivia since you're into Fed. You know who the Colombia captain was when they won?
What year was it?
2001.
2001. Okay, I ain't got it. Who that?
Ivan Cordoba.
Oh shit, he was such a good defender. My Inter guy. Man,
yeah.
he was like the Salsa Cannavaro,
Yeah, 5'8", bro.
Yeah,
just out there thugging.
That dude had a fucking jump on him, man. Like a 5'8" central defender that had a 10, 15-year career in Europe. Like what a player, But yeah,
he spent 12 years at Inter, man, from 2010 to 2012.
Yeah, he was one of the stalwarts back then. Him, Zanetti, Walter Samo showed up. It's Inter has always been a good home for South American players for sure. I think the big regret at that club is that they never found a way to get Messi. I think that was always like a long-term goal. But we're kind of going off on a tangent here, man. Colombia, man, I think they're the favorites for this final, and they would definitely deserve it, and I'd be very happy for them to do it for sure.
They're really talented teams, and they're young too. That's the thing about it. Like, they're a really young team with a bunch of really young talented players. There's a kid. Yassi Asprilla, who's on the bench. She's at Watford. He hasn't played too much, but he's sick. He's like, I saw that this guy who I follow, he's a Colombian guy. I was like, yo, he's like, how like people knew how good Lise was in the championship. He says he's that sort of ilk where like you can't miss him, and he hasn't really played too much.
Yeah,
so
I've seen the clips. He's been linked to Arsenal, so I've watched a little bit of him, and my only I wouldn't call it a concern per se, because it's not a concern until my club is paying him, but he's just kind of small. I don't really like little ass niggas and shit, man.
Yeah.
Pause and all
Young,
that.
Duran's on the bench as well. So, they got talent, man. They got a lot of talent in this team. So,
like, bro, they worked so hard yesterday, man. They ran so hard. Like, Luis Diaz was running like he was chasing kidnappers and shit, man. It was crazy, bro. Like,
trying to find his dad again.
Like, for real, man. It was intense, man. I'm very, like, can we wrap this up? I got to go watch this game again, bro.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, we have the soccer edition out now. Greg Burrows is gone, so listen to that one.
Yeah, Jeff Rader was on that. And thank you, Jeff, for appearing on the Soccer Board. We appreciate it. Go check that out. The guys talked about Greg leaving and who the potential candidates to replace him are. And, the whole Jurgen Klopp thing, like, people, let's be self-aware. Please, Ed John, throw you alone. Jurgen Klopp was never, I'm surprised he answered the fucking call. I'm surprised his agent even responded to these motherfuckers, but whatever.
First and foremost, Jurgen is tired, okay? If you watched enough Premier League last season, even my dad called me and said, what's wrong with Klopp? I said, that's your man. You tell me. He's like, he's tired. That man got his veneers out, his toes out in Mallorca with his wife. He's chilling, okay? That was never going to happen.
Nope.
He's tired. Second of all, we have the Euro edition. Coach decided to go into his real English bag. Excuse us. He got into a real hooliganism yesterday and did a Millwall chant. So I'm so sorry on his behalf. But that's out. We have a lot of surprises for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of that. Thank you guys so much for listening. For myself, Tosin, and Dean, we're out. Everyone take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Take a shirt off. Take a shirt off.